I'll give you a few more reasons why you should not follow men into the wilderness. I'm going to use this comment and a comment from one of my subs on YouTube to explain why. Thank you for your comments. I get tons of comments all the time. I'm just going to include 2 in this video. So this person is talking about a boyfriend who's thought he's an expert at Jeeps or whatever, which if you've been following me for a while, you know I've done plenty of content on men and the car trauma they cause women. It's not just men, okay? They're not all men. But it seems to be a regular occurrence among pretty much every woman I know that they have been in a car at some point in time with a man who made them feel unsafe and literally put their lives in danger. Some of us, it's been multiple times. And y'all know I've talked about this before too, is that a lot of abusive men love putting you in danger in the car because they are ultimately in control of everything. And that, like, you got to be really careful what cars you get in. Not even the wilderness, literally getting in a car with men. Because if you think about it, you're trapped, and you're trapped oftentimes going very fast. You can't get out without being injured. You can't open the door and get out of a fast-moving car. And so a lot of times women have to do all kinds of like emotional and mental gymnastics in order to like stay calm and like this is like a car is a lot of times the place that they'll start fights. Don't ever start a fight in a car with a man. Now, anybody who knows my history knows that my dad put me in danger all the time driving. Like, I'm not even going to go to that story. He's also narcoleptic. I'm narcoleptic, but he was unmedicated. So he fell asleep at stop signs, red lights, and stuff like that, in addition to driving like this to keep himself awake. And all kinds of other tricks, and also just being a really, really scared driver and like pumping the brakes and the gas and the brakes. So it was terrifying riding with my dad, which is why I didn't ride with him often. And even by the time I got older, I started asking my sister or another family member to pick me up at the airport, and even just like the emotional labor behind like trying to like find another ride but not hurting his feelings for letting him know that it's because I don't feel safe with him. Like just like not getting in cars with men in your family or friends or whatever, and how do you get out of that without causing yourself more BS, right? It's not even about hurting their feelings. It's about like not paying the price of hurting their feelings. But I found a way around it. But my ex literally almost drove me off of a cliff, like Thelma and Louise style, minus the hand holding and consent and feminism. Like literally he tried. He literally like almost drove me off of a cliff in New Mexico at full speed. He also ran me and my friend Annie off the road when she came down to save me and get me out. I have so much car trauma with men. And so, I have no tolerance for men who have rage when they drive. I'm like, get your crap together. They just don't get it. I mean, some of them absolutely get it and don't care. But a lot of men, and this is why we need to talk about our stories, a lot of men don't realize, like, you know what? If we're really sensitive in the car, there's a reason for that. So thank you for this Jeep thing, because even that's like not even just a car, it's a Jeep. You know, off-roading, that stuff is dangerous. I used to go mudding when I was a teenager in Tennessee because we were bored. And there's just like farmland all outside of Nashville. So going mudding was like a way that some of my guy friends, and I was one of the boys, I was a cool girl who did all the drugs. And then I got arrested. So this isn't even a PSA about don't go in the wilderness with men. Don't get in cars with men, especially if they've been drinking. But especially if they just have like fragile egos and are reckless, your people pleasing could literally get you dead. So if you are dating a man and he does not take your fear of being in cars with men, or just your fear of like whatever's happening, if you're getting triggered in cars, or if you're just afraid, if he doesn't take that seriously, or if he does this stuff where he thinks he's better at something and puts your life in danger, you need to see that as a huge red flag. I had a date. This is the only time I've ever had a date pick me up at my house, and now I can't believe I let that happen. Like, I had never met this man. Him pick me up at my house. I don't do that. I've been watching like Schmegs in the City episodes lately because I want to do some videos on it, because that's what people have been requesting on my Patreon. By the way, join my Patreon. That's when I have a lot of fun over there. Even if you can't afford a tier, that's the only way you can guarantee to see my work, because the algorithm is what determines what you see, and it doesn't like me a lot of times. Anyway, The way that like some of them would have dates come to their house, to their apartment and pick them up. First dates, don't ever do that. So anyway, this one dude picked me up at my place. He picked me up in his van because he like worked construction or something. And the way he drove, and even though it's LA and everyone has to drive aggressively in LA, and LA is a maddening place to go to drive and live, the way he drove with me. And I'm not somebody who just like easily, I'm not like vocal. Back then I wasn't. Now I am more. Back then it was a big deal for me. I mean, I must have been very scared for me to be like, hey, can you cool it? He's like, oh, sorry. But that was like a really nice way of saying, this is a first date. You don't even know me and you're putting my life in danger. What is wrong with you? Like, at least pretend like you are not a reckless human being. But that was a huge red flag. Huge red flag. He was, I mean, unfortunately, I think I went on one more date with him after that. And then he asked about my body count. So anyway, and also I found out that he had been homeless in Las Vegas at one point because of addiction. And when I asked what he did to deal with that, this was like much later. He took me to a fancy, like super expensive dinner, which also made me uncomfortable. I'm like, I'm all about like taking me on dates and spending money on me, but like it was a little too much for a first date, especially since we never talked on the phone. Like anyway, I learned a lot about dating from making mistakes. That's why I share this stuff. But anyway, he had said, oh, his friends helped him through it. I'm like, so you never went to therapy or like did, I don't know, like 12 steps or like a group or like any kind of stuff that involves other people? And he's like, no, my friends helped me. And I was like, because usually men who don't seek professional help or like literally talk to anyone other than their friends when they have a serious addiction, so serious it leaves them homeless. That person probably doesn't have a very strong recovery and is also probably too proud to ask for real help, because I'm like, what do you mean they helped you? Did they like give him money? Like what? Anyway, so cars are also dangerous. So again, like my wilderness stuff, it's not even about just like the wilderness, because a lot of people who follow me will never go into the wilderness anyway. They live in cities, they have no interest, or the wilderness is actually doesn't feel safe at all. Especially because of the color of their skin. Because I don't know if people are aware of this, but white people are way more uncomfortable in the wilderness in the United States because we do not have a history of being terrorized. Like the wilderness is like people in the wilderness are oftentimes like men in the wilderness are the scariest people for women to run into, and white people in the wilderness we are oftentimes the biggest threat. So even my relationship with the wilderness is going to be very different than a woman with darker skin than me, for sure. So this is not just for people who go to the wilderness. My content is for anybody, whether you're comfortable being in the wilderness or not. Literally anything that is an endangering situation, even though it may not seem to be, but any situation that puts you in an isolated situation with men, that gives them a lot of power and control over your safety or just well-being. Please don't go in first dates with them, and please pay careful attention before you put yourselves in those situations. I just used to think like because I grew up in Tennessee, everyone drives. You have to drive in Tennessee. There's no like public transportation outside of like the downtown or like, you know, it's just the US, right? Very few cities or very few places have good public transportation outside of like New York City and other handful of cities. And so most places you have to have a car. So people in the US are like used to cars. But with cars comes a lot of reckless men who, which is hilarious because they, it's all projection. They've been saying women are terrible drivers this whole time. Literally every single thing that men accuse us of. Just like any narcissist or any power hungry person or anybody with too much power and entitlement, they are like going to do the Darvo thing. Oh, you're a bad driver. Even though insurance companies don't insure them without charging like twice or more what they charge us. They call us bad driver. Okay, we trap them with babies. Okay, who are the men who just impregnate women and then like never talk to them again? Like all the things they accuse us of is what they're doing. Anyway, cars, dangerous with men. Be very careful. I'm not saying don't ever go in a car with a man. I'm just saying proceed with extreme caution. I love that I don't drive as much as I used to. I just get to relax and play on my phone and do whatever I want, and my husband drives most of the time. He's a really good driver. Understands why I am so afraid in cars. It's not that men are never going to mess up. Like, I mean, even some of the healthiest couples I know, one of my friends, her husband is just so kind and sweet. Sometimes like the car is what brings out the worst in people, and especially men who are like not very aggressive. A lot of times the car is when sometimes like an aggressive side comes out. But she shut that down real quick. She was like, hey, don't ever endanger me again. You need to check yourself when you're driving, you know, whatever. And like, that's what we got to do. Like, you're never going to meet a man who's just like so aware of all of the dangerous situations that we're in a regular basis. And therefore, you know what I mean? Like, because this has all been so secretive and men have just been getting away with this stuff for so long and women haven't been talking. We've been talking, but it's been like whisper networks. So now we're talking out loud. We're talking on public platform. No, it's not just like Me Too in terms of talking openly about like fragile stuff. Like, wives are talking about the way men behave in their home. Mothers are talking about the way men behave. Oh my God, there's a swan headed right towards me. God, here he comes. Please don't come over here. What are you doing, buddy? Don't come over here. Just so you know. Okay, there you go. No. I don't know if you know this, but swans are jerks. Don't ever go near them. Oh my God, please don't come over here. Swans are so mean. Oh my God, don't come over here. Oh my God. Oh my God, please go away. Go away. Are you just going to take a dump here? Ugh. They are such jerks. I know they look all pretty and stuff. Anyway, the reason why I'm here is because it is almost 100 degrees here, I think. And we don't have air conditioning like most people in France. And I can't be inside, so this is where I work from on days like this. I'm just going to keep talking while we watch this swan, and also so that if something happens to me, you'll know who did it. Although, by the way, I have my strategy is I put a fake towel over there for the fake person staying there, because when I don't, men come over to me all the time. Or they come down here, they harass me. Like, I come here to hide from men. Okay, I'm going to talk because he's not doing anything. I come here to like hide from men because when I go to the river, they hit on me. But then if they find me down here, then I'm stuck down here in an isolated place. So anyway, it always makes Anthony nervous when I'm here. But if I've got to worry about my safety, he has to worry about it too. But I'm not going to not come because I'm too stubborn. Yeah, look at him. He's just grooming himself. Okay. Oh, yeah, go for it. Oh, what are you doing? Don't think that he's coming over here to be friends. If you do not know what swans are like, they are seriously like hiss at you. They're like, anyway. Oh my God, I'm so off track. Sorry, a little detour. Speaking of which, I am going to put my little headphones on, even though they're not on. But this also deters people from talking to me, because as soon as men talk to me, it doesn't matter if I'm like, j'ai pas compris, or like, sorry. It's after, French people don't come outside till after 4 o'clock. So it's 4 o'clock and like clockwork. There's all these men walking by, and I really hope they don't notice I'm down here. Anyway, he's still doing his thing. But yeah, this is just a deterrent so that if they say something to me, I can just pretend like I didn't hear them. Anyway, so now I want to talk about a comment that someone left, and I asked for their permission to use this comment because this also happened to me. So it's not even about like, worst case scenario, these men put you in danger if they take you into nature or an isolated place or whatever. Do not ever go to an isolated place with a man on a first date, especially. Even like a second or third date. Like, you really want to get to know these men. I don't want people to live in fear, but at the same time, it only takes one time. And you know what? If they really like you, then they will respect your pace. Anyway, so I'm gonna show you the comment. Okay, so Laura, the swan's still there, says, I was 21 the first time I went skiing. One of the guys in our friend group convinced me to go down one of the advanced slopes. I thought since he was so persistent, I'd go with him, that he was going to guide me and help me navigate down the slope. But as soon as we got... Sorry. Okay, swan's leaving. Yay. Have a good day, buddy. Just don't come back. But as soon as we got off the ski lift, he said, meet you at the bottom of the hill, and he was gone. Though I take full responsibility for not listening to my gut and going down a slope I knew was beyond my limits, it was a good life lesson for me. So this brings me to my second point, because this happened to me my first day ever on a ski lift. I've told this before, but I forgot until I saw that comment that this actually happened to me more than once. But anyway, when I went to school in Montana, and you can imagine, as you know, someone from Tennessee, a single mom, so it wasn't like I had plenty of privilege, right? Middle class, white, privileged, able-bodied, cishet. But, it was still like my mom was a teacher and I had a single mom. So we were not going to Vail or like any ski towns, or like I'd never skied before. Like, that just wasn't in our budget. Skiing is a very elite. I don't want to say elite. it's not just rich people who ski, but you really do. Families who go on ski vacations have to have a certain level of income, unless they literally live there, which most don't, because ski towns are totally inaccessible. No one can afford to live there. I lived in my truck in Jackson Hole during the summer, and then a mattress on the floor somewhere during the winter. Anyway, but it's not just rich people, but you really have to love the outdoors, and you really have to. It has to be something super important to you. And usually, most people who are not rich, who ski a lot, like, and they have families, they also like have somebody works part time or something for that ski resort, or whatever. They just go. Not too much. But imagine me going to Montana after having grown up in Tennessee and never even really, I saw snow, but it was in Tennessee. I'd never really been on mountains with snow. Definitely, I didn't even know how to get on the ski. A friend of mine let me borrow her snowboard. And this is like not even like a big mountain. It was like a snow bowl. So I went with some friends, but it was all men, which I should have known better. But I was very new in my cool girl era. So I went with them, and I didn't even know how to put the snowboard on. I didn't know how to put the boots on. I was wearing all the wrong clothes. Probably was not wearing polypro. I was probably wearing cotton, which is probably the worst. This is like literally don't ever wear cotton to stay warm. Wear cotton to stay cold, but not warm. So anyway, we get there, and I was like, how do I get on this thing? Or better yet, how do I get off of this thing? So on the ski lift up, these guys, I don't even know if they rode the ski lift up with me, honestly. I don't even know if they went that far. I kind of feel like they ditched me at the bottom in if I remember correctly, I think a random, because, I didn't even know how to put this on, so it was hard for me to get on the lift. But when I got to I think I rode up with some dude who was like nice enough to tell me, and I was like, how do I get off this thing though? And he was like, okay, so you're going to put your foot in the middle of the board on that thing, and whatever. And everything he told me to do, I tried to do, but I failed, and I totally fell on my face. And, when you're in a... Sorry, the swan's causing problems over there. I need to take these off because... Okay, sorry. I'm going to take these off because I can't hear very well. Or at least one ear. I fell down, and getting up and moving when you're on a snowboard is really hard because you can't walk. Both your feet are strapped in. Anyway, nobody taught me what to do. This dude tried to teach me on my way up how to get down. I didn't know what edges were. Y'all, I did not know what edges were. I didn't know what that word was. I thought you just go straight down. I didn't know what an edge was. I didn't know that you're supposed to do this, kind of go like this, that you make turns, that going straight down is super dangerous. I didn't know anybody. He says, guys, okay, so you got to kind of lean in. One chairlift ride is not long enough to give someone a lesson on how to be on snow, and definitely not on snowboarding. He was like, make sure you try not to land on your, on your wrists and stuff. People break their wrists all the time on snowboard. Anyway, trying to pack in a 3-month course into a chairlift ride. Anyway, get to the top, fell down on my face, and then I was like, wow, this is gonna be a long. It took me all day to get down from one lift. I took the easiest way all day. I think we got there maybe 10 or something, and all day. It was closing by the time I got down. Y'all, I can't believe I didn't freeze to death. Because here's the thing, not only did I fall down all day, I went over, there's all these what do you call them? Cat tracks or something. It's been so long since I skied. Since I tore my ACL in 2004 and then was $24,000 in debt for that surgery because my insurance refused to pay for it, I stopped skiing. So it's been a while since I've been on the slope. Oh, wow, that's 20 years ago. No wonder I forgot. Anyway, it took me all day to get down. I didn't know how, I didn't know how to go on flat parts, because, you're strapped in or whatever. I think I walked at some point. Anyway, I went over, a lip into the woods I didn't know how deep it was, but I was in snow up to here with a snowboard. Do you have any idea how hard it is to get out of snow? Imagine the horse or whatever. Was it a unicorn or whatever it was? No, it was a horse in the Never-Ending Story. That's what it was like. I don't know how I ended up getting out of that. I really don't. I just remember I was probably stuck there over an hour because I couldn't unclip from my board because it was like being in quicksand. Anyway, I don't know how, and no one knew I was down there. It's really dangerous. Someone to take you on a ski lift without and I know that they just, whatever. I just was I didn't know what I was getting into. I didn't know how dangerous it was. I didn't know how much help I needed. That's what I'm saying. It's like, I don't want to discourage people from skiing or whitewater rafting or doing fun adventurous stuff. Like, I made it, like, that was my life. And that stuff really, I loved that stuff. And I still do. But I can't believe how many times I was put in danger by men. And I just want women to know, like knowledge is power, right? So don't go with men, go with women. Because it wasn't just those dudes. Like, I literally, I got down at one point in time, the final part of this day, I just sat on the board and rode down and then would fall over on purpose to slow myself down. I didn't know how else to get down. I could not stand on that thing without falling and hurting myself over and over and over again. And I was tired. Now, I should have just walked down the mountain, honestly, but I didn't realize I could. I was like, I have to go down on this board. Anyway, whatever. I was like, 20? No, maybe not even that. Probably 18 or 19, I was just a kid. Not a kid, but I was a teenager, right? But anyway, when I think about I tried to go skiing again on like a Thanksgiving break or something with two guy friends who, I really liked these guys. But I was like, oh, cool, because I wasn't going home for Thanksgiving because I think all my friends were going home, and like my parents didn't want to fly me home for that because it's an expensive ticket. So I usually found somewhere to go with people on Thanksgiving or something to do. And so this particular Thanksgiving, I went to Vail with them because one of them had a friend who worked there and was going to let us sleep on the floor. It was just gas money and ski and lift tickets, which lift tickets are expensive. But I think it was like 2 days of lift tickets or something. I spent the entire weekend by myself, except at night. Those guys did not ski with me once or snowboard with me once. When I think back, I became a ski instructor, and it was my friend Josh. There are really sweet guys out there. My friend Josh has always looked out for me. He's been one of I have a lot of good guy friends in the outdoor industry. That's why I want to make sure that the message isn't like, screw all men, they're dangerous. My friend Josh has always looked out for me. He was the one who really took me aside when I was training in New Mexico. That year, my first year there, like when I was on a training trip, my first day in New Mexico, and that woman drowned in front of us, and we were part of the rescue from a private boater. He was the one. He was like, finally pushed me. He was like, he taught me stuff. He never tried to sleep with me, and he really just was like a mentor. He's a teacher, and he knew that like my biggest problem was like shame and fear and not skill. So he just helped me build my confidence. And he was the one who was just like, you know what you're doing. You've been doing this every day. I've been watching you. You know these things, like, because I was like just going to be in training forever because I was so traumatized by that drown. And then he was the one who also in the wintertime taught me to ski because I wanted to ski, but he was a ski instructor, and he's like, look, I'm your friend. I'll just give you a couple free lessons just so that you can like have fun, because all of our friends were skiing and I didn't ski because I didn't know how to ski. But I worked for the mountain, so I had a free ski pass. But I didn't know how to ski, so it was like a waste. He just gave me I think he took me out a couple days and just taught me the basic, and I really liked it. And I became a ski instructor. Like little kids, just like pizza, french fry, like nothing big, whatever. But other than him, maybe there was like one other person, but most of the men that I skied with never skied with me. They ditched me. So most of my time ever skiing, which was a very short period of time, because I got injured, I think my second year, which was in Jackson Hole. Not only did those men abandon me on the slope itself, other than Josh, they also just abandoned me when I got hurt. Told that story again. I tore my ACL skiing. I had to get surgery that winter in Jackson Hole. None of them they not only didn't help, they didn't even call and check in on me, see how I was doing. They just disappeared because they got to ski the pow-pow, bro. They don't have time for that stuff. So, yeah, that winter was really hard. I just, hooked up with awful dudes, including, Timmy, the bartender, and awful, awful, awful men because I was bored. I couldn't ski. I'd been ditched by all the men in my life. Thank God for the women. Those women, you know who you are. Landy, Angela, a handful of y'all. Y'all my girls, man. You made my life tolerable and even lovely despite the way that there's 10 men to every woman in that town. Most of those men suck. They suck at dating, and a lot of them suck at friendship. Not all. I do know some really great men in the outdoors, but my point is that especially men when they're younger, if they haven't been socialized to be empathetic, if they didn't have a really great role model in their life, teach them to care for others and look out for others, and especially to make women feel safe on a regular basis, and also like let them just be overconfident even though they really don't know their skill set. Those men are terrible to be with, especially in the outdoors. The outdoors is a fun, amazing, empowering place, but is also a place where lots of stuff happens, lots of scenarios that are out of your control. And if the one person you're with is at the very least, like a best case scenario, just a selfish prick, or worst case scenario, abuser, like that dude, the base jumping dude that I made a whole video about. I don't know. I'm connecting a lot of dots based on the stuff I've seen from him. He sounds like such an awful person. Just so selfish and reckless. And also, a lot of these men will take you into the wilderness, take you in cars, or take you in situations where you're very vulnerable to test you, to see how much you will let them get away with, to see if you will be a cool girl, who'll just laugh it off and be like, or if you'll be one who's like, hey, and like ream them out when they make you uncomfortable, and are like they don't want someone difficult. They want to see how much you are going to self-abandon. I mean, that's like the abusive type. Best case scenario, they're just like selfish pricks, and they're just going to let you be alone all day and figure it out. Again, sometimes it works out, but sometimes it doesn't. People get harmed or die because men just take them places that they are not prepared for, don't tell them the knowledge they need to know to survive those places, then just tell them to figure it out. Those men are responsible. You should never take a woman or children or other people or even other men in places that you are not... and then not be responsible for them, especially if they don't know anything about that region or that sport or that whatever. Anyway, just don't give men the benefit of the doubt, and do not, it's easier said than done, but don't gaslight your intuition. If something feels off and you're not comfortable with it, it doesn't matter if it doesn't make sense, don't ignore it. One of the reasons why I have such a strong relationship with my intuition is because I would go to the intuition gym on a regular basis, and every time I follow my intuition, I'm like, right, see? I knew it. Couldn't explain it, but I just knew it. Get some practice at the intuition and gym, but in less, like lower stake situation. Anyway, let me know if this helped. I always love all y'all's comments. I read all of them. Those are only 2 out of the many that were like really awesome. Tragic and terrifying and terrible, but like, through story, we learn from each other. So thanks for sharing. Thanks for being here. Let me know more in the comments what you think. Like, comment, share. Make sure you're subscribed if you want to be here, because YouTube unsubscribes people every day. I don't know why. And let me know if you hear the comment song. Welcome to the comment song. The comment song. The comment song. Leon, the edition of the comment song. Look at this pretty city I live in. This is Lyon in France, and it's got lots of pretty buildings. I'm just singing about stuff so that you can write your comment. Hey, look at, they have all these murals around here. I love this one and lots of other ones. Actually, I could do a whole comment song about the murals around here. Look at this man and his little cute bike. He rides around with his little whole shtick. I'm not really sure what he's doing, but it's takes a lot of people take pictures. Look at Homer Simpson shooting up the comment song. Oh, I think I changed the tune of the comment song. I don't know, I'm improvising this. Hey, this used to be my old neighborhood. I loved it a lot, but it's super expensive. More from my old neighborhood. Lots of art and other stuff. Hey, comment song is about to end now. Are you done? Are you done? Hey, comment song, comment song. This is my old neighborhood. I still love it. But I got terrace now and a dog and a husband, and it's less cheap, or more but less cheap. Oh my God, I can't do this anymore. Y'all, comment song's ending soon. Wrap it up. 3, 2, 1, et voila!